Welcome into the Bad Fan. Let's catch up on the dog days of summer where Major League Baseball stands entering September. What are our thoughts on the Champions League group draw and all the other latest news from the world of soccer and sports? Your journey with the Bad Fan begins right now. Hello, and I am your host, Cole Carter, and I'm glad you've tuned in with us. I'm joined today by fellow hosts and friends, Brandon Pasnick and Stephen Curl. Fellows, we're back. Episode 33. Stephen, what's in your cup?
We got some Swiss Miss hot chocolate. I'm feeling good tonight. I'm in the top right-hand corner. I'm usually down yonder where Brandon is, so I'm feeling a little frisky tonight.
Ooh, a little spicy. I mean, that hot cocoa in late August, not too hot for you, huh?
Yeah, no, it's freezing in my house all the time.
Yeah, I actually do. I sort of miss the cold, actually. I can't seem to get comfortable in my place quite yet. But yeah, Cole, can you actually move me back up to that top corner? I'd really appreciate it.
This is mine,
Yeah, dude. Sorry, I got to get used to it for the next hour. So, Brandon, how are you doing up in Columbus today?
I'm doing well. I'm repping Rangers today because they made the Champions League, so that's really exciting. Don't know if they'll make it out of the group though. We'll get into that later. And something that's sort of on the horizon that's not decided yet, but I might be finally going to see FC Cincinnati play over Labor Day weekend. So we'll see. It's not established yet, but it's an idea. So
I love it. And Steven's back wearing the Braves jersey. I got the old-fashioned Tottenham jersey that my boy Steve got me as a gift. I'm very grateful for it. It's got Luka Modric on the back. But anyways, we'll get started today. We're going to begin today's Bad Fan journey with MLB, Major League Baseball, and kind of take a look at where things stand with over just a month left in the Major League Baseball season. A far cry from where we began early on this spring with our predictions of the season. But Steven, give us a little rundown of maybe starting with the division leaders from each league.
You got that conference language going on. You gotta come off that soccer lever, brother. We gotta get to American baseball.
That's embarrassing, actually.
Hey, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna get started here. We're gonna go to the American League first. We're talking about the New York Yankees atop of the AL East. The Yankees are 7 games up with a little bit over a month to go over Tampa Bay, who recently has found a good stretch of form, who's the top team in the American League wild card. And if you know me, you know I love the Braves, but you know the Rays are my team also. The Rays are gonna Ray every year. So the Rays are coming up solid right now. We're going into the American League Central a little bit after that. The American League Central is like a dumpster fire. It's a hot potato game of who wants to win the division. Nobody wants to, but right now the Cleveland Guardians are 3.5 games up over the Carlos Correa Minnesota Twins and Tony La Russa's White Sox. Yeah, it's neither, to say the least, neither of these three teams are going to win the World Series whatsoever. But that's kind of fun. Houston does not have a problem. Hey, see what I did there? Does not have a problem right now. They sit 12 games up in the AL West over a very fun Mariners team, which still largest postseason drought in baseball history currently right now. It's up to, I think, over 20 years currently. Moving into the National League, we have Freddie Freeman's Dodgers are as happy as they can be with a 19.5 game lead over the San Diego Padres, who have, my sources say, hung a dartboard of Fernando Tatis's face on it, with Clevenger throwing darts at it every day. So that's the NL West right now, and like the NL Central, something about the Central. The NL Central is a dumpster fire as well. But the Cardinals couldn't care less as they sit 6 games over the Milwaukee Brewers that decided it was a fun idea to trade away their best pitcher. But it hasn't really bit their hand yet. Josh Hader struggling in San Diego. So the Cardinals sit top of the division in the National League Central. And then moving on to your Braves. the National League East. The only real race that's going on right now in the National League comes to the Atlanta Braves playing as cool as their new soft serve ice cream machine in the clubhouse right now as they are closing in on the division leading New York Mets, who are 1.5 games over the Braves right now, over Bloopers Braves. But the charge is going on right now, really the slash, if you will. So that's the quick little roundup of where all these divisions stand right now. It's a little over a month and a half to go of the Major League Baseball season.
Well, let's land a little bit more and have a little quick conversation about each. The AL East, the Yankees are leading that one, in which they've been on a free fall recently. What's been going on with that, and can we expect them to relinquish that lead to Tampa Bay, Steve?
See, the Yankees, if you were to talk to us before the All-Star break, the Yankees had one of the best starts out of any team in Major League Baseball history. And like Cole said, they are in free fall mode right now. But the issue is, for those teams trying to catch them right now, like my Tampa Bay Rays, is that they were so good before. They still sit over 7 games ahead of Tampa Bay. Issues with the New York Yankees right now come with some Cy Young candidates that we had touched on a few episodes ago. Nestor Cortez, my mustache connoisseur, is landing on the IL to join Yankees closer Clay Holmes, Yankees starter Luis Severino, Yankees newfound love Matt Carpenter, Yankees relief pitcher Zach Britton, and the list goes on and on. Giancarlo Stanton just got back off the injured list today. And to give you an idea of where the Tampa Bay Rays are dealing with is Tampa Bay Rays have a guy named Christian Bethancourt, which a long time ago, Cole knows what I'm talking about. A long time ago was touted as the Brian McCann replacement at catcher. Kind of a two-way player, not really. Had some stints in San Diego. Well, he's homered in 3 straight games and come out of nowhere. And that's a Rays MO. Finding a random guy. A couple years ago, it was some crazy dude named Randy, right? Randy Arozarena. Is it Christian Bethancourt right now? I don't know. But, the Rays are going to Ray. They find themselves in this spot every year of being bottom of the payroll. Count them out of it. I think 2 weeks ago, they were in 4th place in the division. Now they find themselves in 2nd. They're streaking right now. The Yankees are in free fall, but I think the Yankees are going to hold on to the division.
Whew, man. It's also still, there could be 4 AL East teams that still make the playoffs. Isn't that still a chance of that potentially? Baltimore's been kind of surging a little bit more than they expected this year.
Yeah, Baltimore, man. If you have a heart, you love the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles are a very fun team right now. They sit, let's see here. They are 2.5 games out of a wild card spot right now behind Seattle, who's over in the AL West. So as things stand right now, we have the Yankees, Tampa Bay, and the Toronto Blue Jays. 3 teams from the AL East making the playoffs if the season were to end today. But Baltimore is hoping to flip the script and sneak in there. Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Then the AL Central, you said the Guardians are kind of balling out. Brandon's Guardians. What's the story with them? Who's been leading them and leading that charge?
Yeah, I mean, the Guardians are a team that at the trade deadline was talking about trading away like Shane Bieber and Jose Ramirez. 2 of their best players on the roster. Were they sellers? Were they buyers? And then they also were linked with Juan Soto all of a sudden. So literally in one day it was getting rid of Shane Bieber. The next day it was, we're going to get Juan Soto. So the Guardians don't know who they are, but they do know that they're first in the division right now. And big helps to Jose Ramirez having another fantastic year. I think he has 25 home runs, like 15 stolen bases. He's hitting like 290, something crazy like that.
I think he already has over 100 RBIs too, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he already has 108 RBIs. So
insane.
Jose Ramirez is kind of that guy on the Guardians that is just, he's going to ball out every year. Shane Bieber, former Cy Young winner, has also found a rhythm of late. But I want to hone in on a couple players that are having a year that if it weren't for these 2 guys, I think the Guardians wouldn't be in the playoff conversation whatsoever. And I really want to actually start off with Tristan McKenzie. I probably got 20 pounds on the guy.
He's lanky.
He's a lank boy, throws 98, 99 miles per hour. Last year, coming off of a bad year with a 4.95 ERA. Pitching to a 3.17 ERA, right there with Shane Bieber, that I actually think currently has the exact same ERA.
It's impressive.
This is a kid who is shoving, just had a career high 14 strikeout game. That's insane. Him and then Andres Jimenez, who was a first-time All-Star this year, sneaking in at the second base spot for the American League All-Star team. He's hit 306, 15 home runs, 15 stolen bases. Actually a former Met, kind of came out of nowhere. Really made his debut in the league in 2020. But it's guys like these that find themselves on these teams come August, September, what we call in baseball the dog days, that can really get your team over the hump. And sometimes it comes in a deadline move, or sometimes just comes a player out of nowhere. But yeah, that's where they have the Guardians right now. And with Byron Buxton from the Minnesota Twins just landed on the injured list. He was a first overall pick. The man just can't stay healthy. He lands on the injured list, and I just don't think the Twins are going to be able to catch the Guardians. But for Brandon's sake, I'm ready for a little Cleveland magic in the playoffs. The last
5 long years.
Yeah, the last time we saw them in there, they lost to the Cubs in the World Series, and it was a fun playoffs, man. I think Cleveland's one of those teams that people want to root for. I don't know. There's no LeBron on the team or anything, but no, this is a team that's kind of gives me a little bit of that Orioles vibe of, out of all these division leaders right now, you want to root for the underdog, and Cleveland's such a fun team.
And out west, it's not quite a wild race, but a familiar face up top for sure.
Yo, Justin Verlander.
Close to being a Brave this spring.
Justin Verlander, that's the sentence. This is a guy that won the MVP in 2011. That was 11 years ago. I was 14 11 years ago. 14 years old. He had a 2.4 ERA that year, won the MVP. This year, he's pitching to a 1.87 ERA for the Houston Astros, has a 16-3 record. He has 149 innings pitched, 0.85 whip, 0.85. That's walks, hits per innings pitched. That's how many people are getting on base on average per inning. For you guys not super familiar with the stat, but
less than one.
That's less than one. This guy is like 39, 40 years old. He is shoving.
And he just came back from, what is it, Tommy John surgery? He missed.
It wasn't
last
Tommy
year
John. It was some sort of, I don't remember off the top of my head, but he is coming off like an injury. I think it was like a back injury or something actually. But he's a guy that just it's insane, honestly, and especially for a pitcher, how rare it is to go out there. He started 23 games this year. That's a lot. You're really considered a horse in baseball terms if you can go like 25 starts in a season, kind of 30 starts in a season. He's going to hit that by the end of this year. But he's a big reason why the Houston Astros are 19 and a half games up in their division right now. The Houston Astros can hit. Listen, they got Bregman, they got Altuve, they got Yordan Alvarez, your shout Cole for the MVP earlier on in the year. Yeah, I mean, this team can hit, but in the playoffs, it's about pitching. It's about lockdown pitching, guys that have been there and can throw an FU fastball right up in and just strike you out and not care about it because they've been there before. They've won World Series before, and this guy's a winner. And I think going into the playoffs, I think he is the it factor for any pitcher on any staff. Like, he is the guy that no one can touch. I don't think Max Scherzer can touch him. Okay, maybe Max Scherzer can touch him. But Jacob deGrom, like all these other guys, like Scherzer and Verlander have positioned themselves in these positions of the elder to be respected, but can still go out there and shove better than anybody else, better than the Max Frieds, better than the Jacob deGroms, better than, Walker Buehler, insert player here. But Not Clayton Kershaw because he has a Mickey Mouse ring, but yeah. So those two guys. But yeah,
Also, Walker
yeah,
Buehler.
Rip Walker Buehler. We'll get to that. Actually, yeah. So I mean, the AL West here, like the Mariners are fun. I like the Mariners. You saw Julio Rodriguez in the home run derby hitting moonshots.
After moonshot, I mean, what he hit the most home runs almost in home run derby history, like 60 plus or something crazy.
I think it was like ever in a first round by a rookie in MLB history. He's had a 2020 season. I think he's at 20 home runs, 23 stolen bases, and it's not even September yet. So the Mariners are fun. I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch in the playoffs if they can hold off the Orioles, which I kind of hope they do. But yeah, I mean, the AL West, we all know the Astros can hit and stuff like that. But what really matters is the question marks around their pitching. Can Justin Verlander go out there and shove for 6-7 innings? And he still can. And his velocity is still up at like 96, 97 miles per hour. It is absolutely insane.
Sticking out west, Steve, what's the NL West looking like? You said the Dodgers are up top, and we've seen really great performances with people like we talked about Walker Buehler. He's on the IL for the rest of the year now. Freddie Freeman's over there. What's the catch up on the Dodgers?
Yeah, I mean the Dodgers. I'm not going to spend too much. Yeah, I mean I'm not going to spend too much time on them. I'll give credit to where it's due. The Dodgers are really good. Like they're the best team in the National League. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's been. That's the way it's probably going to be. They had a quiet trade deadline. Some people are coming out against the Dodgers. Oh, why didn't they do more? Why didn't they go get the Manny Machado move like they did that one year, or go get the Max Scherzer like they did, last year or whatever? And so they didn't, and it doesn't matter because they have such a good team. Some things I do want to touch on is you mentioned Walker Buehler has bit the dust. Tommy John surgery, will not be expected to be back until late 2023 season. Wow. But they just get back Andrew Heaney, who's on my fantasy baseball team, former Angel, and he goes out coming off the IL, strikes out 10 in his first start. He has like a 1.8 ERA. So they replaced Walker Buehler with this kid. He's solid right now. Andrew Heaney gives him options. Clayton Kershaw's coming back as well. He hasn't been with the team. And guess what? Freddie Freeman is hitting 326 with 10 stolen bases, 16 home runs, and 79 RBIs. And that
outrageous.
Yeah, it's not even including the Mookie Betts, the Trey Turners, it's just Will Smith, their catcher. Like this team is good. This team's the best team in the National League. Under them, I'd probably put the Mets and then the Braves. But this team's going to go to the NLCS. This team most likely will go to the World Series. And they don't really have that much competition. And then it's funny too, like real quick after the Padres went out and traded for Juan Soto, the Padres come to LA and LA just sweeps them with ease. After this trade goes through, you can't touch them. You can't touch Daddy. The Padres are still down here, and there will be for time to come.
Wow, that is quite the indictment. Who's making history right now in the NL Central?
The machine. Albert Pujols is sitting at 693 career home runs.
It's incredible.
That's fun.
Three behind A-Rod.
3 behind A-Rod, 7 before 700. And guess what? He's hitting 276. He's not hitting 215. He's not hitting sub 200. This is a guy that's been the best hitter since the All-Star break. Like, there's no arguments about that. He's been the best hitter since the All-Star break. Gives the Cardinals a real option against lefties and maybe some righties on an off day. So he's still hitting dingers. We all thought 700 might have been a next season thing if he decides to keep playing. We got over a month of the season left to go. He could make history with the Cardinals while pushing for an October berth and maybe one last ride at a World Series. You just love to see it.
It is crazy. I would love to see him break that. I don't want him to be in company with A-Rod. I don't want him to smash past him. I just can't stand the presence of A-Rod. But yeah, rooting for Albert. And then the Braves, in the NL East, they're sitting so close behind the Mets. It's been push and pull. It just seems like all season between those two teams, and we're a game and a half back right now. But what's the outlook on the division for the rest of the season?
Yeah, this is going to be a dog fight. It's gotten a lot interesting with Mets fans kind of shouting at Braves fans maybe a week or two ago, kind of saying we haven't really played any opponents. We're kind of beating up on these like lower end teams. And then the Braves just go on a streak, win 10 games in a row, end up taking 2 out of 3 against the Mets. Or is it 3 out of 4? I forget.
3 out of 4.
I think it was 3 out of 4 against the Mets, winning the ice cream machine for Travis d'Arnaud in the clubhouse. If you know, you know.
2 out of 3 against the Astros.
2 out of 3 against the Astros and rolling in Pittsburgh. This team's good. The Braves are really good. And we have Soroka making rehab starts right now in AAA. We didn't really think he could be an option, but it's looking that he might be for this rotation. Jake Odorizzi pitching a lot better in his most recent start against the Pirates. That's a big question mark for the Braves right now, if we have the pitching or not. So Jake Odorizzi going out there and shoving. But this Mets team's good, dude. As we're recording this video, Jacob deGrom tonight went 6 innings, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts. And he's still not back to 100% yet. So, yeah, Jacob deGrom, Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer. I think the Mets definitely have the pitching. That's why they are where they are. Their offense, like Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor, have been killing it for sure. And Jeff McNeil, but their offense just goes in these spurts where they just don't score any runs, honestly. And the Braves, I would say, bias aside, I do think we're a more complete team. I think the Mets have better pitching. Edwin Diaz closing the door in the 9th inning is just insane. He has a 1.4 ERA this year as a closer. It's insane. But yeah, this is the really only true division race in all of baseball right now across every division is the Mets and the Braves. Grissom, Michael Harris, the bottom of the order has been getting it done. Vaughn Grissom recently was asked. He was actually drafted by the Mets back. I forget the year. It was initially drafted by the Mets and recently kind of came out and talked about how he's so glad he's playing for the Atlanta Braves because getting drafted and playing for the Mets would have been a disaster, he said. So adding fuel to the fire, honestly, a little bit of the newly found kind of, I've never really minded the Mets, but it's got to be something to do with this season. But my hatred for them is kind of going up a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be a dicey finish, and it's going to be dirty.
It is going to be dirty. And yeah, those baby Braves have been outstanding this year, throwing in Spencer Strider amongst Michael Harris and Vaughn Grissom. Vaughn Grissom just been scoring runs at the wazoo since his call-up. Michael Harris and Spencer Strider are the 2 frontrunners of the NL Rookie of the Year award. So those 3 have definitely been game changers for us. And so for you guys, let's kind of revisit where we were back in the spring, our World Series predictions. I had the Red Sox beating the Dodgers in the World Series, and currently they sit last in the AL East. It's not been their season for a myriad of reasons, just injuries, uncertainty about contracts, trade deadline, inactivity, or just however you look at it, it's just not been the Red Sox year, which is crazy to think about them being last, talking about the Orioles before the season. People probably expected them to lose 100 games this year, I would bet. Just overall thought process about the Orioles. And look at them having a push into September that they can have a chance to make a wild card
trading
spot.
Away 4 players at the deadline. They sold.
Yeah. And they're still there. They're still lingering around. So it's gonna be crazy. But yeah, it's looking unlikely that my Red Sox will make any sort of comeback this season. They'll have to rebuild into the future. But you guys had some bold predictions saying the Braves would be repeat World Series champions over the Blue Jays. Brandon, are you feeling good about your prediction still?
Sort of. I still think they obviously both will make the playoffs, and I'll stick with that gut initial feeling. Once you make it into playoffs, I think anything can really happen. We've seen it over the years. I'll stick with it. I was going to ask you if you wanted to change your Red Sox at all, if you wanted to throw in an AL team in there.
I mean,
change your pick.
At this point, it's just it's almost.
They're not mathematically eliminated.
No, they're not. It's just almost insurmountable at this point with just the state of their club. hard to overcome it. Man, that Astros series against the Braves is pretty good. It would be exciting to do that again. But honestly, I would kind of love to see a Yankees Braves World Series at this point. Some redemption from '99 would be awesome.
You're changing the Dodgers too? You're changing the whole thing?
Well, I'm just thinking like mentally, like it'd be cool.
It would be an
that.
amazing series. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Like redemption from '99 to see the Braves beat the Yankees, but yeah, I really don't want to see a Dodgers Yankees series. The two least favorite teams, but if I had to pick a realistic one, that's a pretty realistic take. In that series, I would probably still take the Dodgers. They have, I think, too much talent to lose to the Yankees, especially how streaky the Yankees have been in the past. But Steve, what about you, bud?
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are just so good. I would probably have them in my World Series over the Braves. I think they'll meet in the NLCS, and that'll be a fun series. But, and I would say the Dodgers playing. Honestly, the Yankees, they're not. I think it'll be the Rays or Astros in the World Series this year over anybody else in the American League. Probably like a Dodgers Houston World Series, which kind of would be fun to see another rematch of them. The cheaters versus the non-cheaters. It's really cheaters versus Disney World Series ring. So that'd be kind of funny to see. But I will say this, I'll give stipulation. If the Braves win the National League East, it's going to be in dramatic fashion. And if it were to happen, and you can't underwrite momentum going into the playoffs. And I think if the Braves somehow climb back from over 10 games down in the East to win the division, the Braves are going to win the World Series. Like, I'll bet my car on it.
What's the
song? The last series
in the stars.
Yeah, it's honestly.
Isn't the last series against the Mets too?
I want to say
the last series of the year for the Braves is the Mets.
Yeah.
Is it if it's in Atlanta?
I think it's in Atlanta. Yeah.
Might have to buy some tickets.
Yeah.
Look into it later.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. But yeah, I think gut feeling though, I'll go Dodgers against Rays.
Oh my God.
Big versus small. I'm a romantic. How can you not be romantic about baseball?
Steve, if you were romantic, you'd be picking Braves versus Rays.
Yeah, but the Braves are evil though. The Rays aren't.
Good point.
Yeah, I'll go Rays.
Point.
I'll go Rays over Dodgers World Series. That's my change up. But if the Braves win the division though, then the Braves are gonna win the World Series.
Man.
It's not really an answer, but
it's flipping coins.
Who's gonna tell me?
That's great. Hey, well, that was a good baseball session. We haven't had a good baseball session on here, the whole crew, in a while. It's
baseball.
Close to about a month left in the season, and every game matters, every pitch matters. This is the time where if you haven't been watching, it's a good time to tune in now. Watch some good baseball. Fall is coming, and it's a good time to especially be a Braves fan right now. But
Brandon, you played baseball, right?
Up until 7th grade.
Go ahead and give me that position. Where was your spot on the diamond?
I did play shortstop.
Ooh, the money
second
maker.
Base, and then a little bit of outfield. And I played when Cam Shepard, who played at Georgia, and was drafted by the Braves. When he would pitch, I would play shortstop for him. And then when he would play shortstop, I would go back to second or play outfield or whatever the switch up was. But
Brandon with chemistry from UGA, Cam Shepard. I love it.
I didn't know that I was going to say that this podcast.
No, I didn't know either. That's not in the notes. Are you a 5-tool player? I'm really just trying to get was it average? Was it power? Was it speed, defense? I was bad at all 5 categories.
I think I was just okay at everything. I think
it was like a fish out of water running down first.
Yeah, I was.
But a good first baseman. I'll give you lots of credit on that, Steve. You're a really good first baseman.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, I was a way better lacrosse player. Let's just say that.
Okay, we're at the day we talk about lacrosse on this channel is the day that I'm not a part of the bad fan. Anyways, I'll throw it back to our host.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into what we hinted at earlier. The Champions League draw has happened in Turkey. The champions. Impossible not to sing it every time. And this one happened in Istanbul, which will be the final location. It was supposed to be in 2020. Obviously, the pandemic happened and it didn't land there. I think it landed in Portugal instead. That was the Chelsea Man City final. Anyways, moving on. We'll give you guys a glimpse of that draw. So you had just a kind of mostly balanced, I would say, draw. But the one that really stands out to everyone is that Group C. You look at that with Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Inter Milan, and the Czech team Victoria Plitzen. I don't know what Plitzen.
Hey,
But regardless,
respect.
the whole point, you have the rematch. You have Robert Lewandowski matching up with his old club. Gonna be an amazing match. I'm sure both times will be sold out in Munich and in Barcelona. And Inter, no slouch at all. Coming in hot in that third spot in that group. So that's the good one. Obviously, Steve, our guys, Tottenham, probably got the best draw out of any club. Landing Eintracht Frankfurt, Sporting from Portugal, and Marseille from France. And so we're looking good, hoping to be the top of that group. Really no excuses. It feels like I mentioned to you guys in the group earlier, that felt like a Europa League draw. So getting a little lucky. But for you guys, if we kind of look at this and dissect it a little bit, what is another group maybe that you guys see besides the group of death that's going to be hard to get out of and might be the most entertaining to watch aside from Group C?
Yes. No, I go first. I'm looking at. I'm curious about this PSG group with Juventus and Benfica. I don't know. I'm kind of drawn to them. PSG is a team that always has. The recently, especially, has had issues with locker room stuff with the overlord Mbappe being in control of the club. How much power does he have? Can this Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar trio actually put it together in games that matter? I think that's what's intriguing me the most. In a team like Juventus, I mean, very familiar with the champions. I don't know. That's kind of the group that I'm looking at right now, and I'm really curious to see. I think it'll be very telling how PSG plays in that group. I think everyone's expecting them to top it, but I also think everyone wouldn't be shocked if they have some huge blunders in that group as well. You just don't know. For me, you're not selling me on this PSG project yet of if it's actually working with all these huge personalities fighting over PKs and drama with club stuff. I don't know. That's just what I'm drawn to. I'm drawn to PSG. I'm drawn to the drama. I'm drawn to if they'll actually be able to make it out to put it together on the field. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Juventus Benfica over PSG in that group.
It's a fair shout. Brandon, what you got to say?
I think that's sort of bold. Juventus is in a little bit of turmoil right now with the coach and all that. They're Juventus. But PSG has been blowing by teams in their league so far this year. I think 5 goals per game, like something crazy. I think they'll be just fine there in H. If I was going to pick like a second group of death, which is, I think there's really only one, I think it's really Group A. The way Liverpool has started this year, we talked about it on the last podcast, very, very iffy. Injuries, not very busy in the transfer market. I don't know. Who are Liverpool at this moment? Are they still this, the world beater, making it to the final, making it to the semifinals, or are they sort of coming down off that perch? I don't know. Napoli is always pretty consistent. They're probably about the same level as Ajax, to be honest. And then Rangers, they're back in it for the first time in a while. They're really going to want to show up on this main stage. They have some good players on their team, not really anyone that anybody would know, but I think they can give a lot of these teams a really, really good fight. So I'd say pay attention to A because it could be very, very interesting.
I think I think Group H is interesting because Benfica went on that crazy run last year. I mean, they were the underdog story of that tournament. So they can't be forgotten. But I think in fairness, Group G with Man City, Sevilla, Dortmund is going to be a solid group. Man City, I would have to say probably them and Bayern Munich are probably the favorites coming in this tournament. I just think Man City with additions that they've made and Bayern Munich just being, I think, the perennial Champions League team, like that's what they care a lot about. And they've won it, 2 years ago? So I guess 3 years ago at this point, technically. Anyways, I think, Sevilla is a pretty solid team, especially coming out of Spain. I don't really think they're a pushover team, and Dortmund has always been, fighting for their spot in the Champions League stage and trying to get to the round of 16. So I think Group G will be a pretty solid one to keep an eye on. And I don't know. I think, like y'all said, PSG is flying early in the league, and I think they won't have any issues getting out of that one. If Juventus is the one to falter, that'll be my pick for that one. But I am curious on you guys. I want to know if you could pick a team to be your so-called dark horse, the one that you think maybe isn't the number 1, 2, 3, 4 favorite, team to win the Champions League, that you could pick as your dark horse to go and make a run in this tournament. Who would you pick? Brandon, we'll begin with you to start out.
Oh God, I didn't even know that you were going to ask this. My dark horse. I don't know. I really don't. I think. Can you say Inter Milan's a dark horse?
Yeah, I don't know. I think especially coming out of that group, I would say it's a fair say.
Yeah, I think if they make it out of that group, the sky can be sort of the limit for them. They have a lot of good players, some older players too that have been here, done that. Yeah, maybe if I gave it a second look, I'd choose a different team, but I'll say Inter for this podcast.
I like that.
Yeah.
Steven, you picked Real Madrid last year. They were the eventual champions. This is your time. You get to pick another team. Who do you see with your seeing eye?
Yes. I'll actually stick with La Liga and go with the club that's been in the headlines. FC Barcelona.
Oh, wow.
Robert Lewandowski, that man is going to be out for blood against Bayern Munich. I can't wait for the drama of the matchup. It's a hell of a group. I'd love to see Barcelona go and win it all. I'm imagining the drama of that scenario of Barcelona win the Champions League, and it's incredible. It's Barcelona at the end of the day. They got talent, dude. Like, they're still a good team.
They really are. They
really are a solid team. Seem to mesh well under Xavi to lead that charge. So, Barcelona is my dark horse for winning the Champions League. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, and it doesn't really need a reminder, but I'll remind everyone. Before the season started last year, Steve said Real Madrid will win the Champions League. They are the dark horse, and guess what? They went and did it. So, if you're betting man or woman bet on what that man just said.
Go on and bet on it, and like and subscribe too. We'll do a little promo. Like and subscribe, so I can quit my job. That'd be great.
Please. Okay, Steve, you didn't give the answer I wanted you to give.
Oh,
so
really?
I'll give the answer that you were supposed to give. I'll stick with the boys. And here is the reasoning. People have a lot to prove. And I'm not trying to be fanboy. I'm just doing this because it's a dark horse pick that's probably decently legitimate. We certainly have the best route out of the group stage. That's pretty much a given. Round of 16, we've done pretty well. I think 2020 against Leipzig was just an unfortunate turn of events. No Harry Kane, some injuries that you had banged up. I really don't think that was anyone's fault for losing that round of 16 draw to them. Also, Timo Werner at that point was at his peak, and so that was a tough round of 16 stage. But you have Antonio Conte, who's not really been known for his ability to succeed in Champions League. I think he's trying to prove that he can do it. He can win a cup final. So he's got it. Harry Kane, Sonny, the forwards looking great, and I think that they'll have a chance to make it deep in the Champions League this season. So if I had to pick a dark horse, why not be Tottenham? Why not us? That's my mentality going into this thing. Hey,
I think it's a great pick. I said they're making the semifinals, and I'll stick by that. I really think they have a great chance now.
Did Frankfurt win the Super Cup against Real Madrid?
No, it's 2-0. Yeah.
Okay.
Not bad.
Frankfurt, watch out. Europa League champions.
They are. They are. So yeah, I'm so excited for Champions League. I'm just chomping at the bit, ready to see some games. It is the best. We've talked about this before, having fond memories of watching it together, whether it be on campus or just like at the house. So many awesome Champions League moments, and I know I'm excited to have Tottenham back in the league, and it's going to be cool. Yeah, that Group C, Group Death will be so intriguing. Lewandowski, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich. But that's a bit of the Champions League. Move on as we get to the latter half of the episode to the Premier League. And that's our favorite league that we love to tune into. So much has been going on already this season. And what do we have on the weekend ballot this week, Brandon?
So this is Brandon's game of the week. It is Brighton versus Leeds. Two teams that are arguably overperforming, but they are both well drilled. They're both very good. A little bit of history. Brighton has beat them both times. The year Leeds came up when they were promoted. But last year, even though Leeds were awful, they drew both games. So if you're seeing a pattern, it might be Leeds pulling the double over Brighton this year. Who knows? I don't know. I think this game will be very, very evenly matched. Sort of another one of those, marker games, trying to see where both of these teams are at. I don't know. What are you both thinking?
I saw an interview. I was posted, I think, on NBC Sports. One of their players is saying that they do have ambitions to compete for Champions League, and even making the acknowledgement that Leicester City won the league a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't Brighton do something similar? And they've come out strong. It's 3 games we talked about before. Anything can still go whichever way. But no, I think Brighton has a realistic shot at competing for Europe. A couple of teams do. We mentioned me talking about Newcastle, like similar teams in that. Not a lot of expectations coming into the season for them, but certainly have the tenacity and hunger to achieve great things for their club. So I wouldn't rule out Brighton on doing well and probably taking this matchup. I think Leeds has come out fiery and has come out with something to prove under Jesse Marsch, coming in with that Bielsa system of sorts. And I could say probably like a 2-1 win in favor of Brighton. I'll give the Seagulls this one.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. I'm thinking like a 1-1 draw or a 1-0 Brighton win. But no, yeah, these are 2 really good teams. Again, the Graham Potter, I think, is just a fantastic coach. Getting linked to a bunch of great clubs and whatnot. I think it'll be a big test for Jesse Marsch. Arguably, I think Chelsea kind of underestimated Leeds and they came out and punched them right in the face. But I don't think they're going to catch Brighton like that. I think Brighton, it's a take one to no one kind of vibe. Like, hey, listen, we get it. We're a mid-table team. Like, you punched high against the giant. Now welcome back. It's sometimes you can argue that it's almost harder to beat teams that are familiar with the championship or with like scruffing it and racking it and stuff like that than playing against teams that are up high on the table. But yeah, I mean, these are 2 great teams. We'll go with the Brighton win. I'll still stick firm a little. It's games like these, though, going back to our preseason predictions about Leeds getting relegated, that if you're a Leeds, you need a point. Let's not get carried away. Like, go out, get a point, get the job done. It's away at Brighton, I believe, correct? Or
yep.
Yeah. So it's games like these, like Brandon was talking about, as with Villa, with Steven Gerrard. Like, can you get a point? Like, And it's a big test. So the win against Chelsea's fun. It's exciting. It's nice. The American goal is fun. Good job, Brendan Anderson. No look, but it's kind of back down to earth. You're not up against Chelsea. You're up against a classic English team that can rough it better than the rest. So it's like, are you going to get a point or are you going to get played out the pitch? I think they're going to lose 1-0.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brighton will take this game. It'll be close, but I could see Brighton winning 2-0. Surprised none of us chose Leeds there, but I don't think any of us are necessarily believing the Leeds hype thus far into the season.
And what's next on the slate of games? We got Man City, Crystal Palace. Is there any contest in this one?
Supposedly, Pep always says Crystal Palace is one of those teams and whatever. But this year, Crystal Palace has really started the year well. They smacked Aston Villa around. They lost in a good game to Arsenal the first week, and then they tied Liverpool. So, playing another giant here. And I think Patrick Vieira is a really, really good manager. Very pragmatic, going to set his team up in a certain way and hope that it works. If Newcastle can do something, I think Crystal Palace can do something, most definitely. A little bit of history. I'll let you guys give your points. Crystal Palace has drawn and beat Manchester City in the last 2 meetings. What? Yes, it is true. But they only have 2 wins and 3 draws in their other meetings dating back to 2016. Sorry, in all their meetings, so including those 2. So, and I think if you go back further, it doesn't get any better. What do you all think?
Well, I think if Man City continues to be vulnerable to things like the counterattack, Zaha will take advantage of that. He's definitely shown it. I think his last game, who did they play the last game? I can't remember. But yeah, he scored that counterattack goal and put it away, and he has the ability to be lethal on a one-on-one like that. So he can score a goal, but it won't matter if Man City scores 3. I think Man City's got this one in the bag pretty easily.
Yeah, I got a solid. I think coming off that Newcastle draw, like that's fun, right? But I think Man City's gonna get drilled back into shape, and I think they're gonna win this one 3-1, 4-1 with a brace from Holland. And it's fun, greatest Premier League season ever, right? Like last week I said, but Man City's exempt from these kinds of things that we're talking about. These teams, they're in a class of their own. So yeah, I think they go out, play them off the field, and they have fun with it, and we see classic Pep soccer.
Yeah, I'll say 3-1 as well, and I think Holland will bag his first hat trick of the year.
I was gonna go hat trick, but I stuck with brace.
Patsy. There is a North London derby this weekend. Not really one of much magnitude, to be fair. Arsenal at home hosting Fulham. Fulham have not beat Arsenal since 2012. That's a decade ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And Arsenal is currently sitting atop the league, 9 points out of 9 possible points. So, fellas, is there any hope that Fulham can swing this one their way?
I think there is. And then it's in one person, and I think one person only. And it's Alexander Mitrovic. If he can score a goal or 2, I think they're well in the game. They're a good team. Fulham's a good team, not to be overlooked. But definitely an early season test for them. I don't know. I want to say something will happen here. I think Arsenal might. I think this might be a draw. I think they might come back down a little bit. They've been playing very well. But Mitrovic's a guy who can get stuck in if he doesn't waste his chances, because Fulham will get chances. I think it could be a tie, but it'd have to be like 1-1. I'll say 1-1 tie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an opposite direction. I think this is going to be a game that Arsenal gets a chance to stamp the rest of the league on notice with their 4th win. I think once you get in that 4-5 win territory, I mean, if they take 12 points out of their first 4 games,
wow,
you better start paying attention. I got a 2-0 Arsenal win. I think they're going to keep flying. Hosting Fulham, crowd behind them. They had the momentum. They're balling out right now. They're playing with confidence, and they're a very good team. So I got 2-0 Arsenal win.
I think you got Martinelli and Jesus bagging a goal each. Probably 2-1. I bet they probably like a penalty, I would say. Probably do something stupid in the back. 2-1. Mitrovic puts the penalty away, but it's going to be indifferent at that point. Yeah, Arsenal continues their hot start atop the Premier League, if my prediction has anything to say about it. And then Brandon, Villa hosting West Ham on the weekend. What's that going to look like for them?
Yeah, two teams that are severely underperforming. Villa with hopes and aspirations of Europe, not looking like it's so far this year. We talked a little bit about it on our last episode, so I won't go into it, but Steven Gerrard needs to figure it out. But West Ham, a team that spent a lot of money this summer and has not put it together with 0 points. They are at the bottom of the table currently. You know, what a perfect time to play Aston Villa, right? You know, also Aston Villa have not beaten West Ham since they've come up from the championship. But will it happen this weekend? I do not think so. I can only hope for a draw as an Aston Villa fan. I think it, on just the looks of it, it sort of seems right. I'll say 2-2 draw.
I don't really have much hope for you guys. I'll give you a loss.
Yeah, no, we will lose, but I'm trying to be optimistic, I think.
You know, I'll be the optimistic here. I'll go 2-1 Villa win. Shock in the world. I mean, West Ham has not played well, either. Like, it's kind of a battle of the underperforming teams, like you're alluding to, Brandon. So, but you know, I mean, this Villa team, like, I don't have to tell you that they have talent on that field, especially in the attacking half, dude. Like, it's just in money alone. Like, these guys can get it together, hopefully. I pray they get on the track hosting West Ham and take advantage of a vulnerable David Moyes side. So I'll go to a 2-1. 2-1 Villa win.
Thank you. I needed that.
Hey, anything for you, brother.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the Premier League. Some of the bigger games on the slate for the weekend. Hopefully some good matches on the schedule. Some transfer updates coming closer to the end of the window. I think the biggest move of late has been Newcastle. It hasn't been officially announced yet. Supposed to be signing the 22-year-old striker Alexander Isak. I believe he's Swedish. For Real Sociedad for a club record £58 million. This guy has been performing at a young age in the La Liga, and this is a pretty good signing, giving them a pretty consistent striker that hopefully can grow into the position, grow into the Premier League. He's not kind of bulky, kind of strong striker, but he might get the job done. Brandon, how would you rate this signing for your, not your team, but for Newcastle?
Yeah, he's tall, he's fast. I think he's 6'3", and he's young. It's honestly a really, really good signing. I can't believe no other teams came in for him. With Callum Wilson always getting hurt, this will be a great signing to have. I thought he might play across the front three anywhere up there, but he actually only plays striker. So I think he will fit right in at Newcastle. He's going to work hard. He's going to run. Just a few stats. He's scored 16 goals in 1920, 17 goals in 2021, and 10 goals last year. And he's only 22. All of those were in La Liga. So I think he can transfer it. I think this is for Newcastle especially, probably a 9 out of 10 signing. Probably one of the best that they could have done.
Wow.
Yeah. Another thing on this signing, he is a tall boy, but him and I have the exact same amount of goals headed in this past year. I had one header in RPL. He's actually not fancy to score with his head, although he is a pretty tall guy. Scores with his feet only. I think he only has like one headed goal in those past like 2-3 years, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I'm with Brandon. I'm surprised not many more people were in on this kid. And it's if you're a Newcastle fan, you got to get excited. You're not reaching for an expired player for an Arnautovic, Manchester United. But no, it's a great team. I think when Newcastle got taken over by the consortium, you immediately go Mbappe, this, that, like all these big names or whatever, like unrealistic or high wage older players. But this is a smart signing, so Newcastle fans get excited.
Very exciting. And we mentioned West Ham. They're making a move for Emerson, the left back from Chelsea. That's not really seeing the light of day with them. So he makes the move for £13 million to West Ham United. They spent over £120 million this summer already. And who are they linked with next, BPAT?
Lyon's Lucas Paqueta. Have been all over the headlines this week. David Moyes has been asked about it in multiple press conferences. Rated around £35 million Brazilian. The offer's still on the table. I guess West Ham's waiting to hear back. If they could get this deal over the line, again, this is a probably 8 out of 10 signing. This is upgrade on any attacking midfielder that they currently have on their roster. This guy is a Brazilian international and will probably start in the World Cup. 24, about to turn 25 actually this weekend. 11 goals and 7 assists last year, 10 goals, 6 assists the year before. And the dude is very technically skilled. He's gifted. He can play with his left, play with his right. This is a very good signing.
Yeah, that would be good to help improve their chances of recovering early on from this Premier League season. And Chelsea, we mentioned them. We talked about Thomas Tuchel as he kind of off his rocker at the beginning of this Premier League season, but they've been pursuing Wesley Fofana from Leicester. Feels like all summer long. And once again, they've had another bid rejected with him. They've also been linked with Aubameyang.
Yeah.
So as we've talked about, just being so strange with Barcelona. But what else has been the link up that Chelsea's? It feels like they got their tentacles everywhere. Who else do they link with, Brandon?
Yeah, this one might be the weirdest one of the summer, I think. Other than about to submit a 5th bid for Wesley Fofana. That's just outrageous. That's unheard of. But they're going after winger Anthony Gordon from Everton. Steve, can you make this make sense to me? I don't understand.
Well, how much are they wanting to pay for him?
Yeah.
£60 million.
£60 million.
Yeah, Chelsea doesn't have any wingers on their club. Yeah, they do. Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know, it's just weird. It's just really weird. You kind of wonder who's running the club when you hear certain moves like that. Like Everton, like you're in a relegation battle, don't get twisted. And Chelsea, like striker defense. That's your MO. Not you have a surplus. They still have Ziyech. Or am I tripping?
Yeah.
Nah, he's still there.
Yeah,
and
like
Christian.
Ziyech, Christian, like Matt, like everybody. It just doesn't make any sense. So, but you know what? Maybe they Anthony Gordon's English, right? So that always carries something for whatever reason. But
yeah, something came out this week that I just wanted to note that Anthony Gordon wants this move because he thinks he can make the English roster going into the World Cup. What do you guys think of that? I can name probably 8 wingers ahead of him.
I mean, kudos for him for believing in himself. That's cool.
I guess, yeah, you have to say that, but
yeah,
hey, 2026, why not?
Yeah, I mean, if you're asked a question like that too, it's like, yeah, I believe him. I mean, you got to have an ego to play a professional sport. So,
yeah,
so interesting.
That's true.
Can I ask another question? Who's stupider here, though? Chelsea wanting him, or Everton possibly letting him go, or Everton not selling him for that price? Like, I feel like there's 3 questions to be asked here.
I think Everton's smart for holding on to him. I just think they're supposed to be like a respected top club, like historically, and they can't continue to free fall. They can't continue to be made a mockery of, and so letting a young talent like that go again after Richarlison leaves would definitely be just like what is already an under fire ownership group would certainly have to be out at that point. They would just be dooming themselves to relegation. They would be dooming themselves to have no real, I would argue, like headlining player. So yeah, it would be silly for them to let go, and it's just bad business on Chelsea's part to want to spend that much money on a player that they don't need. They have surplus. If they want to get rid of Ziyech, they want to get rid of Pulisic, fine, great, make it happen. But you currently don't have that freedom to do so. I just think it's a bit nonsense to have this move, even in the rumor mill.
Yeah, I guess I'll make it brief. Like, I don't know if Everton just like hold on to him. Like you're still trying to stay up. Like let's not get it twisted. Everton not up to a good start. Chelsea, it's just like whatever. Like they're that top club that doesn't really care about how they spend their money, and that's fine. They'll probably loan him out to some other team, or maybe start him and then sell Christian Pulisic. I don't know, but I would say Everton, like, hold on to this kid. You gotta score goals this year. Don't underestimate the bottom of the table. So again, Frank Lampard. I think if Anthony Gordon leaves, it's kind of like I'd be sitting there as Frank Lampard going, "Are you serious? Like,
yeah, the writing's on the wall then.
Like, what am I supposed to do with this?"
Yep. Other than that, Man United sort of making moves. They just loaned Eric Bailly out to Marseille. Ronaldo, if he's on his way out, I think Ten Hag's been making some sort of like sly comments of sort of talking about players that have long-term futures and players that have short-term futures. Maybe Ronaldo fits in that short-term future. Kind of hard to say, but he's been linked with Marseille and Napoli apparently. Are they still linked with De Jong, Brandon?
They're not, but today I read something that Liverpool is linked with De Jong, which would make sense. I think it's probably too late in the window for it to happen, though. But they need reinforcements in that midfield, and I think De Jong would be a perfect signing.
It's just crazy. I mean, they've been rejected with Ajax and Antony, their $80 million bid, which is just nuts. We've talked about the talent that he is. He's only 22. He's put up some great numbers. His goal involvements last season were 22 goal involvements, 20 the year before that. He's so quick. He's Brazilian, so he's trying to make his way onto the Brazilian team for the World Cup as well. But yeah, things kind of have not been as hot as they were with the Casemiro transfer. But still, like you said, needing reinforcements, needing to back up this squad that's trying to reinvent itself as it's 3 games in. It's trying to find its footing and trying to find out what their identity is. Are there any other link ups or any other rumor mills that we need to cover up before we move on to our last bit of the podcast, lads?
Yeah, I'll hop in and just sort of finish here with Man United is all over the place. They are still scrambling, trying to get signings in. They don't know what they're doing, just to be completely honest with you. They're about to sign, but they want to sign Marco Asensio, another Real Madrid player who's in talks with Arsenal supposedly as well. I think it'd be a good signing, but like, is he a starter? No, he's not going to start for you. He's not going to raise the levels, I don't think. Maybe I guess of the backups, but I just don't see why you'd pay 30 million. I mean, not a bad deal. I just don't see that. They're looking for a right back replacement. Serginho Dest has been thrown out there. Denzel Dumfries he's Dutch player. And even Norwich City's Max Aaron has been listed. I don't know what they're gonna do. They've needed to do stuff all summer and haven't done it. And now we are right at the end here, and it doesn't seem like they're going to get anything else done. So yeah, great win against Liverpool, I will say, but it is going to be another long season for Manchester United if they don't get anything in before the window closes.
Yeah, they are playing with fire and are in danger of drowning in the Premier League if they don't make some recovery moves quickly because the deadline is closing. I think we have less than a week. Is it August 31st that the deadline closes? So a little bit of madness coming down the stretch. But our stretch here is coming down to the MLS Fast Five across the pond, back to the Americas. I will begin our Fast Five with Austin FC is taking on LAFC. Wow, what a matchup! We've talked about this. Austin FC is kind of being that like out of nowhere team this year. LAFC is on pace to potentially break the single season points record, which is nuts. But we'll begin with you, Brandon. What's your take on this one? Who do you have going in the MLS Fast Five, starting with Austin versus LAFC?
Man, it's gonna be a great game. Electric. I'll say 5-4 Austin. It's at Austin. 5-4.
That's a Stephen Crow prediction right there.
Hey.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, Austin FC with the current Golden Boot leader, Sebastian DeRussi, and current assist leader Diego Fagundes with 9 assists, 18 goals for Sebastian. Yeah, taking on Gareth Bale. God, 5-4. You really got me messed up with that. Yeah, I'll go for a 3-2. I'll go for a little bit more tame, outcome. And I got a Bale wonder goal for LAFC, taking all 3 points.
At home, I don't think Austin FC has lost at home yet. I can't remember for sure, but I'll take a 3-3 draw. LA coming in, getting a big point. Not on pace to, I guess, when the game happens to break that record quite yet. Second game on the ballot, you got Portland taking on Seattle. This is arguably one of the most important, historical, biggest rivalries in MLS. For me, I'll take Seattle. They're trying to scratch their way up into the playoffs. I'll give them a 2-1 late stunner to win this game.
That's a good one. I'll say 2-2 draw. The Portland crowd will pull their team, who's struggling from what I think. Does my memory serve me correctly? I think Portland's struggling right now. 2-2 draw.
Yeah. Seattle right now sits at 9, Portland at 10. They're neck and neck. In the rivalry that is Cascadia, that also includes Vancouver. For some of you guys, some MLS education, these 3 teams are all like 2 hours away, 3 hours away from each other. Some of the oldest rivalry in MLS. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be electric. I got 2-2 draw between Seattle and Portland.
Okay. And then an Ohio matchup, Brandon, you should be going to this one if you could. Cincinnati's taking on Columbus. Cincinnati's in 9th place, I think. And Columbus, they're in 9th place. Cincinnati is it right backwards? 7th place Crew, 9th place Cincinnati. Regardless, big Ohio matchup. Brandon, these are your 2 teams fighting it out. Who do you have in this one?
I did go to the first Hell is Real this year. It was in Columbus, so that was amazing. Check the Twitter for the video. Yeah, it's in Cincinnati this time. Columbus wiped the floor with them last time. It was a really good game by them. Both teams fighting for playoffs. I will say 2-1 Vasquez brace. Yeah, probably a late goal to win it.
Dang.
That's fun.
He just got that contract extension too, so I'll give him a goal. Columbus coming off that Atlanta United draw. 1-0 Cincinnati. Brendan Vasquez penalty.
Ooh,
yeah, I don't think Columbus looked too good, honestly, against Atlanta United. Kind of had a couple moments of individual brilliance. To take that point, I think Cincinnati will take this game 2-1 as well.
Good call. In the East, you have Orlando and NYC FC. Orlando's sitting 3rd. That's a really good spot for them to be. NYC, the reigning MLS Cup champions, are in 5th. Let's see. In Orlando's probably going to stay in 3rd. I'll give them a 1-1 draw. We'll say that.
Orlando 1-0.
I think I'm thinking about like predictions with the MLS, and the reason why it's so different than the Premier League is just like everybody's bad. Like even the good teams are bad. Like the way they score goals, just a little it's hard to do these predictions because the reason why 5-4 isn't a crazy prediction earlier by Brandon is because I don't know, like it's MLS. Sorry, I'm just thinking it could happen, dude. It could happen. And it's like Orlando NYCFC, like Orlando's in 3rd. I'm like, okay, sure. Like, I don't know. Like, I'll go with like a 2-1 win from Orlando over NYCFC.
Man. Let's see. Do we finish this out with a decent matchup or the Cellar Dweller matchup?
Cellar.
Yeah. Okay. So Atlanta United is taking on DC United. Atlanta desperate for points. DC United desperate for a rebuild under newly appointed manager Wayne Rooney. 13 and 14 coming up against each other. This one's in Atlanta. Atlanta is so desperate, I think, that they'll have to get a win. Hopefully it's a big one. 4-1 would be awesome. I don't know how we'll score 4 goals, but I will take it because the 27 goal differential and the negative for DC has me thinking we could probably do something against them.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah.
Atlanta United absolutely dominated Columbus last week, and that was like I think it was probably their best performance of the year. If they can carry that energy back home and play like that, I don't know what the score, I don't know what the score could be. It could be a lot to a little. But realistically, I think Atlanta will win 3-1 because the defense is awful. So we'll definitely give up 1 goal at least.
Yeah. I'm going to go to this game. I'm really excited about it. I'll be screaming my little butt off. And I was telling Alexis earlier today, it's like, I want to go to the game because like, I know we're going to win. Like those have been very few games this year for Atlanta United. I was like, I really want to go because I know we're gonna win. I'll go for a 3-1, hopefully a 3-0 result for Atlanta United. I'd love to see Josef Martinez get more comfortable and get back on the score sheet. And yeah, it's a trial game for Atlanta United. I think to play more free flowing and start to build on something would be great from that last week against Columbus.
Yeah, we do need just to build up some sort of momentum. 6-7 games left, desperate for points. It takes that unity, takes that team. We'll see if Gonzalo Pineda can rally the lads. But for today, that's about gonna do it for us. We've been doing this 33 times now, and we love getting a chance to do so. Spending close to a little over an hour together today, and we hope that you can continue to support our coverage of stuff like the MLS, MLB, and the Premier League, and now Champions League for the fall and upcoming spring. If you have not already become a bad fan by subscribing, clicking the bell so you know that new videos are made available. That way, you can join in with us and to the Premier, finding us on Twitter. Just interact with us. We'd love to hear your opinions as why you're a bad fan of your team or the league that you follow. But hey, for today, I have been Cole Carter. They have been Steven and Brandon. We'll hope to see you guys next time. Until then, take care and peace out.